PR guy from Philly is working overtime, I'm sure, this week. So I feel for that. And I think the unhappiness or frustration for this stuff is the lack of execution on a couple different fronts, but mainly when the quarterback is dropping back to pass. I think there's a couple miscues and you know, a little bit of a misfire here or there, and he's showing that a lot of his demeanor and eyes and footwork and timing are usually in the right place, but the ball's not coming out.
Okay.
And so it's a little frustrating for the receivers is kind of what I'm gathering based on the emotional media side and then the, you know, cutthroat execution tape. So when we go to this tape,
let's go to it.
I think it's important to understand how these reads really work. And for Jalen, there is a such thing as a pure progression where no matter what, I'm going 1 through 5, or a pre-snap look where you need to know the down and distance. It's 3rd and 8.
Okay.
The defense is going to show me a look, and I have to start my progression either to the right or to the left, whatever I'm, you know, breaking down. Am I working the isolation side or the combination side, either to Devontae Smith or not? So he sees man-to-man. He's looking first at Devontae Smith, Devontae Smith, excuse me. They're going to double him. They're going to play cloud to his side. The corner's going to bump up. The safety's going to take half the field, so he's doubled. The safeties on the other side are playing quarters. Each of them have a quarter of the field. I'm going to work the trip side in my read. I'm going to work to the right instead of working to Devontae. So Devontae's dead to me. I'm working this whole combination up top. You're working Calcaterra down the middle. If you love it, great. If not, cool. Devontae's dead. He's got doubled, right? Yeah. So we've established that. He's out. Now, Calcaterra is my alert down the middle, alive during split safety. You could argue he could rip this ball to Calcaterra on this play and have a huge explosive pass. The next guy in the slot, he's just running for the love of the game, clearing it out for who really is number 1 outside, A.J. Brown. The next progression, after you check your alert, you don't like it, you go A.J. Brown to the halfback. As soon as he gets his football, watch his feet. He's throwing a 14-yard hinge route or a Harvey on the outside of number 3, right, to A.J. Brown. I'd prefer a 3 hitch and throw. He wants to go quick 5, eyes to the right spot. He's got his eyes on number 1. He's determined from this pre-snap look, I'm going to throw it, and then the ball doesn't come out. Okay, fine. If you don't like it, that's okay. I'd argue rip that ball off of 3 steps and a hitch. If you don't like it, that's what the back's for. That is what the back's for. Dump it to him, inside shoulder. He splits the 2, first down. Fly, Eagles, fly. Well, okay, we're going to run out and do these trick shot throws on the edge and make life really hard. Now, this is where you get away with it, right? He makes up for it because he either scrambles for the first down or he makes a throw like this, right? And it looks, everything's fine. Well, let's go to this next clip, okay? They end up scoring on that drive. Let's go to the end of the first half.
Yeah.
I'm trying to double up on points. I'm trying to kick a field goal at worst, then get the ball in the 3rd quarter, which they were going to do. And now we jump this team. We lap them. Okay, where's this safety going? It's another pre-snap look. Now, this is quick game, so there's no check down. And he's got man-to-man across the board.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, how are they going to play the middle of the field? Because I need to know, am I working to the left or to the right? They're going to cut this read in half. So Jalen's looking at the back, looking at the 2 backers. He knows it's man-to-man. How are they playing the middle? They're going to banjo the back. That means whichever side the back goes to, that backer is going to take him, the other guy fill in. Now, when you do that, since the back is displaced left and then goes right, there goes the backer up top with him. He's got to take him. He's coming to my side. He's mine. Boom, this other backer fills in. There's nobody in the middle of the field. So now you got 2 in-breaking routes versus off-coverage man-to-man, inside leverage. And you got 2 top 10 receivers on the left side of the field that are ready for this. You have a great call here. You have 2 in-breaking routes versus off inside coverage, man-to-man. Work it inside out. Catch, left foot, right foot, ball is out. To number 1 inside, to number 2 outside. That's it. Now watch him again. From the slot, there goes Devontae Smith. You don't like that? Okay, fine. Even if you make the argument that you don't like that throw, you felt this guy triggering. Okay, great. There is no excuse why this ball doesn't go to A.J. Brown. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. And he's done these plays before. I've seen him execute it on film. I could show you 20 clips of him doing it right.
His confidence?
I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know if it's a short circuit thing. I don't know what it is. But when you go back and look at this, And then he has to jump up and just throw the ball away. This time, Devontae wasn't available for the special scramble splash play. So now it looks terrible. The other one would have looked as bad if he didn't complete the ball.
So he's got open guys.
There's guys open. And so when, A.J. Brown makes the knee-jerk reaction, emotional response, which I wish he wouldn't have, but it's clear what he's talking about is stuff like this. And it's not just him. There's other guys open too. The ball should have gone to Saquon Barkley. The ball could have gone to Devontae Smith inside. It's not just one guy. And so, listen, is this stuff fixable? Absolutely. But it's, at some point you got to cut that ball loose. Just let it go. Jalen, you know the reads. You know the footwork. You know where your eyes are supposed to go. Cut it loose. Hayes in the barn. You know what to do. Show me. Just let the ball out of your hand. Because he's accurate enough. He's strong enough. He makes those splash plays. It's all there for him. And so I think they're just frustrated that, they could be blowing teams out with 2 or 3 more plays that are executed a little bit better. We're talking a little bit better. And they're beating teams by 14, 21 points. So it's, I think that's where this team has to make a jump and, fix those issues relationally and execution-wise.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. That was a masterclass right there. And I posted, a video yesterday talking about this, about that's the difference. That's why you try to fix some of this stuff. Not, they've been winning. They've been having success, but they could be winning by even more. There's been too many games where it could have gone either way. And so we see that it's there. And that's what I was saying. You could be really extending these leads and making it so much easier. Not to mention, if you're hitting AJ and Devontae in those moments, that's going to make Saquon Barkley's job even easier. Things get even more open up. The fascinating thing is this idea of what type of passer you're going to be. And a lot of people were angry when I said, listen, Jalen Hurts isn't as great of a passer as some of these other quarterbacks. And people get really angry, and I see this with a lot of Lamar Jackson fans as well. It's not the actual arm talent. It's not the ability to throw accurately, to go down the field, to hit guys in stride, close window throws. When we talk about sometimes these guys aren't as great as passers, this is what we're talking about. This is what it is. It's not saying that they don't have the actual raw talent and abilities to do it. And as we saw, Jalen Hurts was able to overcome some of these bad reads or bad decisions because of his actual pure talent of a football player, as a football player. And so this is a master class in breaking this all down. And that's why Sanchez is awesome. He is absolutely at the top of people who are in the media, and he obviously just really, really, really knows what he's talking about, not only from just an intellectual standpoint, but also from a practical standpoint. And I always try to get ahead of the people who want to try to rip Mark Sanchez to be like, oh yeah, what did he do in the NFL? And it's just what did Andy Reid and Bill Belichick do in the NFL? That always drives. Every time I ever do a video with Mark Sanchez or someone else like Dan Orlovsky, that's always the go-to. Yeah, the butt fumble, and it's okay, cool, sure, whatever you say. And I always try to emphasize these guys actually often know the game more than the actual truly elite players, like the Tom Brady's of the world, because they have to. They don't have that level of talent. They need to understand these things and can't skip a single step. They need to understand the game on such a more deeper level. Who do you think understands the game better? Antonio Brown or Sean McVay? Who was better in the NFL? Sean McVay or Antonio Brown? I don't even think Sean McVay even made it to the NFL. So again, it's just, you got to understand that it's not just because you can play that means you know everything. The baddest guys in the gym who look jacked and shredded and can move the most amount of weight, oftentimes those guys have no idea what they're talking about. So again, I always want to emphasize so much, listen to Mark Sanchez. He's awesome. And these are great examples. And again, even he emphasized this. It's not like Jalen does this all the time, because then people are going to say, well, why are you only showing these highlights? Show the highlights where he can do it, where he does do it. And it's true. The problem is that these things are happening too much, and that is what's driving some of the other offensive weapons they're angry because they know they're open. They know they're there. And that's where I'm excited because I did this first, and I'm going to do the Greg Cosell clip as well. And I think he will probably go on it even a little bit more technical, but I don't know what he's about to say. And I really think that's why they have to mimic kind of what they did with Russell Wilson. And I can see it kind of going in two different directions, because there's one thing what they do with Sam Darnold. The way how they got Sam Darnold to be more comfortable was to make him a pure progression passer. Like, it was just like, I don't care about anything else. I don't care what the defense is doing. I don't care if they're in zone, if they're man to man. We're not doing any pre-snap reads at all. We are just going 1, 2, 3. And that is what Kevin O'Connell has been doing with Sam Darnold. And it's helped him. It's essentially reinvented his career. I'm not sure if they've gotten away from that a little bit as time has gone on, but definitely at the very least in the beginning. Someone who's more up to date with film study can let me know, and that's mainly Travis O'Shea. But I'm just curious in terms of, like, what is the solution for this for Jalen Hurts? And that's why I kind of lean on saying that they should do more what they do with Russ, which is not a pure progression passer. Because again, on one side, you could say, well, pure progression is actually really easy. You think less. You just have to go through your progressions. You don't have to worry about anything else, and that's possible. But if you're making the right read and you're seeing it, but you're still not pulling it, then it's kind of like, well, then that's a different problem. There's one difference if you're just making the wrong read, or you're like you can see on the film where his eyes are. You can see the logo. You know where he's at. And so it's kind of like, okay, so then, going that route might not necessarily be the correct way. And that's why you do some of these things that they've done with Russell Wilson over the years, especially in Seattle, and what they're doing in Pittsburgh, where you have so much more like of these no read throws, or it's very simplified in a way where it's like, this is where you're going for the ball, and you're still taking your shots, you're still doing some of these things, but you're relying less on having to make decisions in real time. And again, this is where Greg Cosell tried to dance around it before when he was talking about Caleb Williams, about simplification. People think simplification is an insult, and it's not. It is the job of every OC to make things simplified. But it's tough. It's such this weird balance, because on one side you could say, well, this is simplified. Like, you can see the guy is open, he's looking at it. He either makes the decision or not, and that's why it's like, well, is he feeling? Has he lost some confidence? Is it a short circuit, as Sanchez put it, right? Is it one of those things where you see it but you just like can't do it, or is it like where you see it but like you don't feel comfortable in that throw? That's why you got to kind of diagnose what's actually happening. And sometimes you can get to the root of the problem, just like in medicine. Sometimes it's like, you have really bad stomach pains, and you can figure out the root of the problem. It's like, well, you're drinking 10 cups of coffee, so of course your stomach hurts. It's like, okay, take the coffee out, now you no longer have stomach problems. Other times you have stomach problems, and it's like, hey man, there's actually nothing causing this. Unfortunately, you're just born with a sensitive stomach, and yeah, man, no matter what you eat, no matter what you do, you're gonna have some issues with some stomach issues. Just the way it goes. And that's why you got to figure it out. And if it is the latter, then it's then figuring out, okay, well, then how do we overcome this? Are there certain foods that you should avoid? Does that help? Are there certain triggers? Do you need to, is there some medicine that you can take, right? Some again, Tums or whatever. And again, these sound like silly examples and analogies, but it's 100% relevant. And that's what they do with every single player out there. You find the strengths and weaknesses of each individual player, and then you figure out, are there some of these weaknesses? Can we elevate? Can we get better? Some of these players, when they have strengths and weaknesses, can we make their strengths so amazing that it doesn't matter that they have some of these weaknesses, because their strengths are so unbelievable that it overcompensates and is able to hide away some of the weaknesses? Some of the weaknesses, do we have to do a better job of minimizing and hiding? We can't necessarily elevate, but we got to minimize it. Like, there's all different ways through it, and that is the job of both the coach and the player, to find a way through it, to figure it out. And I'm not going to act like I know the exact answer for Jalen Hurts. Like, really, it's going to come down to Hurts and a great coach. That's why you have some of these quarterback whisperers and things of that nature, because they know how to work around it. So, but it is right there. And if you're an Eagles fan, like, you should be frustrated. You shouldn't be like, oh my God, Jalen Hurts is awful, because that's not the takeaway either. And a lot of the haters, that is what they want to jump on and be like, oh, Jalen Hurts, he can't read defenses. He's not good. He's not that. And it's like, that's not necessarily the case either. But this is something that you obviously do want to figure out, because it is technically inhibiting the Eagles from actually truly reaching their actual potential. And that is what it comes down to right there, is that this team could actually be even better. There's another level that they could reach that you have to imagine they're going to need against, say, the Lions, the Bills, the Chiefs. I'm running out of teams to say, right? Like that's going to matter. They were very fortunate when they played the Ravens. And again, I said this loud and clear that the Eagles deserve to win that game. But in a lot of ways, Lamar Jackson can have similar problems. Quite frankly, he can have a lot of similar problems. And again, it's like trying to figure out what do they do with Lamar. Lamar's like, well, I got these legs that I can that's my get out of jail free card. And it's like it's constantly trying to figure out, when do you need to fix something? When do you rely on your get out of jail free card? And how do you go about doing it? But then, like I also emphasized earlier in this clip, you have someone like a Sam Darnold who obviously doesn't have the legs of like a Hurts or a Lamar. And it was like, well, how did they figure this out? And it's like, well, we just need to change his approach to how he goes through his progressions, how he's actually, executing an offensive down in any given moment. And that's what Kevin O'Connell had to work through. So all interesting stuff. Not necessarily confident on what the right or wrong answer is, but with all of this, you should be confident that like something needs to happen to really unlock the true potential of this Philadelphia Eagles team. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Eagles? Jalen Hurts. Where do you think Jalen needs to improve? What do you think should be done about all of this? Do you think this is more kind of stuff that's just kind of taken out of context or blown out of proportion? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.